In the history of
podcasting,
only a select few performers have become immortalized by the roles they have portrayed. Consider the Vamp, the Champ, the Tramp, and now the most perfect casting of all,
ML Elric,
the Jerk.
It was never easy for me.
Meet
ML Elric.
He's poor,
You mean I'm gonna stay this color?
traveling down that lonely road, seeking fortune,
Actual live weight guessing. Take a chance and win.
finding fame,
The new phone book's here. The new phone book's here.
and learning about love from a perfect master.
Shawn Windsor.
You asked it around your question around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric, and I'm here to tell you something, and this is from the heart. I don't need you. I don't need you. I just need this chair, this thermos, this remote control, my dog. Oh, I don't need my dog. No, I don't need any of that stuff. I can do it all by myself.
You're not as emotional as the Jerk. You have a dog? That requires caring about something else. Ah, jeez. Shawn with the shotter already.
Like I said, I don't need Shawn. I do need Mark.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I do need Mark, and I love The Jerk because not only was it a great movie, but Steve Martin is back in the news because there's a... Shawn, would this be a biopic or biopic about him? Are you familiar with this Steve Martin fellow?
Yes, I've heard of him.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a new film out talking about his life and how he became a comedian, and like a lot of the great comedians, he's been very sad for a long time.
Have you seen it?
No, but I've read
really,
about
really
it.
good.
It looks terrific, and I've seen some of the clips.
Even if you were not for some kind of crazy reason, if you don't like Steve Martin as the comic, he's just an amazing human being. Really good dude. Like Mike. Well, I don't know if I'd
Wait a minute. A minute ago, I didn't care about any living being. Shawn, we didn't bring you here for your consistency. We brought you here for your energy, your charm, your...
the energy. The energy. Yeah, of which he has none.
Yeah, so...
Plenty of energy.
But we you know, the thing is we know who we are here at the Soul of Detroit. And so we bring in some of the best guests you'll ever catch in podcasting. And that this week is Christophe Zajac-Denek, who is a former Detroiter, was a drummer for a band you may have heard called The Hard Lessons. He's a stuntman. He's also the star of Sasquatch Sunset, and he's featured in a documentary that will be playing at the Freep Film Festival called Standing on Water. Now, I thought that was cool because I assumed it referred to playing hockey, but this water actually isn't frozen because Christophe is a surfer. And he does, well, let me put it this way. If we told you everything he did, we'd be out of time. So we're going to let him hit some of the highlights in just a minute. And we'll tell you how you can get tickets to see this documentary and all the other great shows at the Free Press Film Festival, which is kicking off shortly. Then we're bringing our pal August in a little bit to tell you how you can help out a great cause with the Tracksuit Party, which will be coming up in Hamtramck very soon. And all this is brought to you by Dr. Yaldo, who, whether or not you looked into the eclipse, you probably could use some help improving your vision. Mark and I have both had LASIK. That gives us 20/15 vision, which is better than 20/20. Dr. Yaldo can not only help you get that better than perfect vision, he can help you get rid of those readers, those contacts, anything you need to see without help. So we'll tell you how you can take advantage of that offer in a little bit, as well as Luke Nowacki, who is helping you save money, prepare for a better future. Don't worry about staring at the stock market. It's like staring into the sun. Not recommended, but he will make sure that your money is working for you so that your latter days aren't eclipsed by economic...
Everything with him is a first draft.
It's all
long-winded?
It's all organic. Oh, sorry. And then there's Come Play Detroit, where you can sign up for great sport leagues. And if you want to play softball against me this summer, there's only one way to do it, and that is to sign up for Come Play Detroit. We'll tell you how to do that and save some money. And to those of you watching us on Patreon, we appreciate it. For as little as $5 a month, you get first crack at the podcast. You'll get it before anybody else. You won't have any of those annoying insertion ads. You'll be able to watch the show. and just support the show, which is really important too. So we'll tell you how you can do that after we get done with the fun stuff, which is talking to Christophe, who we appreciate you joining us, because it sounds like you're a guy who does not have a lot of openings in your schedule.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me on, guys. I'm honored. Yeah, the schedule recently has kind of been it's been kind of slammed. So you know what? As an actor in Hollywood, I'm grateful when anyone wants me anywhere. So I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take a busy schedule. That's amazing.
So tell us a little bit about your days in Detroit and what made you decide to head out to LA, and how you caught on, because I think everybody goes to LA, but not everybody ends up getting a gig, and you seem like your dance card's pretty full.
Yeah, I moved to LA 15 years ago. I was touring with the Hard Lessons for 6 years, and I decided that I was almost 30 and kind of hadn't made any money in my life at all, and I decided that I love surfing, and I also love the access to the industry in Los Angeles, and so I just wanted to take a risk. And I came here, and I didn't have a fallback plan. I just kind of hung myself off the cliff, and I would just sit in my room and refresh the gigs, the Craigslist gigs postings, and it worked out for me. I ended up booking myself to play drums on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and I also ended up booking myself on to be a stand-in on a Universal Pictures film. And so stuff happened relatively quickly out of necessity to buy food and have a place to live. I through a contact, I received an acting agent right away, and I feel like coming from Detroit and playing music in Detroit, that was my identity. I'm a musician. I need to go and play music. So I didn't have really aspirations to become an actor when I moved to Detroit, to Los Angeles. That was sort of like a secondary thing that was out of necessity to just make ends meet. But I got an acting agent a month after being in LA, mostly not because I was a good actor at all.
It's because you're handsome.
I knew nothing about acting, but
nothing.
Not really. No. Well, very little actually. There was one. Anyway, it's mostly because of my size. I'm a little person. I'm 4'4", and so agents that would come across little people would say like, "Oh, this can fill the whole of in our roster where we can send someone out to be in costumes or be an elf or be a leprechaun or something like that." And so I did work like that for a long time.
So are there a lot of opportunities for diminutive gentlemen in Hollywood? I mean, I think about all these former wrestlers. It seems like every one of them is getting a movie made now. Arnold Schwarzenegger knockoffs, every guy from Canada named Ryan seems to have movies lined up for them. But other than Peter Dinklage and the guy from England, who I forget his name, who's hilarious, it doesn't seem
Warwick?
like... Yes, Warwick. Yeah.
Oh, Warwick. Yeah. Warwick is amazing.
Yeah, he's great. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of star vehicles out there for you guys.
No, absolutely not. I mean, foam is normally what I get called to work in. A lot of cover my face. This doesn't need to be seen. And it was a tough thing because that's been the majority of my career has been working in lots of foam. I've worked on 10 episodes of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and I'm so grateful to have, to be on their Rolodex, and they just call me directly for things. And they're lovely. Also, I want to play roles that show my face, and that's been a fewer and farther between opportunity for me and people that look like me. I think that's one reason why I started the podcast and why I made this film Standing on Water, because I really wanted to raise awareness. And the way that I see that happening is through visibility. You kind of see difference, and then you have to think about difference, and you have to decide whether you want to accept that difference or not. And that was a big leap for me, but I'm really happy that I'm kind of found this path and want to share this visibility and exposure of little people.
Well, one of the visibility roles you had, because I recognized you when I saw you, was Twin Peaks and the reboot.
Yeah,
I mean, what a role that was too, because you're kind of a badass murderer, hitman. But you got to work with David Lynch. Was he looking for someone? Was he looking for a little person for that role, or did you just go in and audition like anybody else?
I did not go in and audition like anybody else. I actually found the role in like background casting, and I guess they hadn't found what they were looking for, and so they put it out. They cast a wider net, and I literally stumbled upon this very nebulous post that did not name David Lynch or Twin Peaks, and I just said, this is offering up some money, and I think I can possibly do it. And I didn't even know what I was doing until I got to set. They actually sent me the script like hours ahead of time, and I was like, oh, I'm on Twin Peaks. Okay. That's amazing and a dream come true. And I get to kill people with David Lynch directing. Okay, I will do that. I don't actually know if he was specifically looking for a little person. I think he kind of seeks out the oddities and the unconventional, vectors for these characters. And honestly, I'm so great. I've been bumped along in this industry a lot, but I've been blessed, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that have come my way. But yeah, that one, to show my face in a David Lynch thing, what's better? I don't know.
So you said that you took up acting as kind of a way to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And that you have no training. I mean, have you since studied acting, and are you making enough to basically make it your career, or is this still more of a side hustle?
The goal is to make it my career. Yeah, I have found some really great studios where I studied and I worked. Yeah, I don't I don't want to just like fall back on like talent. What talent, I want to study the craft, and I think I've always kind of been drawn to it, whether I understood that or not. Performing and playing music has always been such a huge love, and I think I found the bridge between that in myself. But I also definitely understand that you need some technique, you need some chops, and you have to learn the tools. And I've definitely been doing that, and it's opened up so many different avenues for me to express myself. We just shot a short film this weekend with the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, and I'm working with some filmmakers who've become really good friends. So the goal is now to just make as much stuff as possible, and to lean on those acting chops and put them to good use, because that's really how I feel like I'm going to see roles for people like me, like whether it's myself or whether it's Peter or my friends that I know that, are in this industry and haven't necessarily been seen as much as I believe they deserve to be seen. I want all of us to be able to get out there and have the roles that we feel authentically represent ourselves.
Well, one role that I would think would have been a little bit of a challenge is the movie you have in theaters right now, Sasquatch Sunset, which has gotten really good reviews because it's really weird too. It kind of appeals to me. But your third billing behind two pretty big actors, Jesse Eisenberg and Riley Keough, and then you. But explain the movie and explain why, because I think that would be a challenge. Now, pretty easy to remember all the lines though.
Right. Yes. Just grunts and howls and
there's
barks.
No dialogue really.
There's no dialogue. There's no humans. There's no language. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of posturing and a lot of physicality. I think the tagline for the film says it all. It's a year in the life of a singular family, and that's really what it is. It's you.
But they're Sasquatch. Yeah.
What's that?
But they're Sasquatches or Sasquatch.
But they're Sasquatches, exactly. Yeah. So, imagine like the Patterson Gimlin film from, I think it's 1967 or something like that. Like, I fell in love with Sasquatch watching Unsolved Mysteries, as a 6-7-year-old, and just, believing that if I ever went to, Empire, Michigan, like walking around in the woods, I would hopefully see Sasquatch somewhere. But so the film is like all the things that you never saw Sasquatch doing, and but that they actually do in the wild. Like, this film is based on raw science and hard data. So, you know, nothing in this film is a fluke or, you know, was made up. But yeah, this, you know, working with Jesse and Riley and Nathan Zellner also plays a Sasquatch and co-directs, and then David Zellner wrote and directed the film. It's so much fun. I describe it as the most beautiful and ridiculous film that you will see because the vistas and the landscape we shot in Northern California is absolutely stunning. And then the Sasquatches doing their daily things,
including sex, fornicating. Yeah.
Well, it's mating, right? Like, we have to procreate.
No, I know. I have no problem with it. I wasn't turned on by it, Christophe.
Do you guys run into Steve Austin at all? Does he make a cameo?
Not to my knowledge. No.
Oh, that was my favorite $6 Million Man episode with the red tracksuit out there hanging out with the Squatch. That was pretty.
Oh man.
Now my least favorite Sasquatch is here in Detroit.
Dan Leach.
Dan Leach, but it's just
you're going there,
just because he's feeling his stuff now that Michigan finally won a couple football games. But But the film that you produced, Standing on Water, you know, when I think about learning to act and characters and things like that, it seems in a way that you have always felt that you were characterized or stereotyped because of your stature. Tell us a little bit about Standing on Water, how you came up with the idea. And I know you're trying to open people's minds with this, but how did you get it going, and how did you find out about the Freep Film Festival and figure that would be a good venue for you to roll this out?
Yeah, so Tommy Corey is the director and producer actually of Standing on Water, and he contacted me because he was producing a film series about people who do things who I say they're people who do things who don't look like they should be doing those things. So he's profiled a number of individuals that love nature and necessarily don't get seen in messaging for brands or for, you know, articles on folks that are enjoying the outdoors. And I've been obsessed with surfing since I was 14 years old. I sent my check-in to Surfer Magazine with my mom's address in Shelby Township, Michigan, and was just hoping that Surfer would send the magazine. So I, you know, have always loved surfing and just, you know, mind surfed for my entire life. And then as a little person, like it's really tough. It kind of is not what I should be doing physically. I have a spinal fusion, so I can't arch my back, and, you know, my arms and legs are shorter. So leverage is definitely an issue when it comes to paddling and efficiency. But I've made it work. And I think that's you know, one of the themes of the film is, it's not necessarily overcoming. You can't really overcome yourself. You know what I mean? I don't wish overcoming yourself on anyone, because I think, like, we're born in these bodies and we have to embrace and find out the best ways that life works for us. And I hope that's maybe what people get from this, is that it's showing, I guess, how I've adapted and learned about my body and how I've become happy in doing the things that I love to do. And yeah, I was actually at Sundance, hanging out at a party. We were supporting Sasquatch Sunset, and Steve Byrne from the Detroit Free Press came up to me and he said, "Didn't I see you playing music 20 years ago in Detroit?" And we just, it was amazing to me that we just ran into each other at a party in Park City at like midnight. And yeah, so we just had the conversation, and I you know, we caught up, and I told him what I was doing, and here we are. You know, this Saturday, Standing on Water is going to be in the film festival. I'm coming back to town for the film fest, so I'm so excited to be included and to show this film. Does
the film cover like just stupid questions people like me would have, like, how do you get a wetsuit? Like, I would think, you know, you're 4 foot 4 inches, that might be kind of a challenge, and just, you know, the things people, you know, normal sized people would take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clothes and gear is relatively impossible, or, you know, it doesn't come easily, and it's to get stuff that's custom. It's
Not cheap.
Really, it's really difficult because like jobs are hard for little people to come by in general. You know, I feel like there's a stigma there's a social stigma when you see a little person, and maybe employers don't necessarily want to hire folks who are, you know, look like us. I don't say that for all employers, but you know, I've worked jobs, but I also know other friends that like have been turned down when they're overqualified for work. But yeah, so it's hard for us to find jobs, and it's expensive for us to find gear because everything has to be custom. You know, a lot of my clothes are custom, and that's a lot more expensive than just going to the store and you know, finding stuff. So it's difficult on a cost basis, and it's difficult on just like a general, you know, does the equipment work for us basis.
Now, you talk in the film about people staring, and you're going to stand out in a crowd. And and I think about a woman I went to high school with. She was a couple years older than me. Absolutely beautiful, impeccably dressed. I went to school in Grosse Pointe. I think her parents probably had some dough, so I'm sure everything she had was tailored.
That probably checks out.
Yeah, but she was almost always in like business attire. I mean, so when you'd see her, you just say, there is this stunning, very well-dressed person who's quite a bit smaller than I am. And so you looked, and it wasn't because you were, you know, ogling or anything like that. It just happened. How do you want people to interact with you? Because there should be a point where you feel like you're being acknowledged without all the backstories that you talk about, where people are like, oh, it must be this, it must be that, or you know, we just don't say, dude, don't presume to know my story. But I mean, do you wave at people and say, hey, what's up, or just give them the stink eye, or?
You know, it's really been a journey, man. Honestly, I think and I'll address the clothes. I just started working with a disability-focused clothier and tailors in LA, and they made some shirts for me. And I put the shirts on, and I instantly got emotional because nothing ever fits me, and these shirts fit me, and I felt like powerful. I felt, you know, like these clothes actually are for me, and it changes the way you look outside, and it completely changes the way you feel inside when you have something like that. I really have struggled with the interactions with people and what I want and what I kind of need. Like personal relationships have been, you know, just not healthy, and on definitely on my side, and on a lot of times on the other side as well. You know, I've said in the past, like my history is like 99% of women just are like not interested at all, like hard pass, and then there's like a 1% that just becomes obsessed and just kind of can't let me go and wants to just, you know, there's a lot of this you know, like bucket list opportunity, you know, that I think I kind of represent for people. But yeah, you know, it's been a tough thing. I've been in therapy for a long time. I've realized that in my past, I've had a lot of self-hatred and self-denial, and I've tried to overcompensate for that by, you know, internalized ableism, and I've recognized the external ableism that comes onto me. And how I try to deal with that now, I'm open. I try to remain soft. I you know, definitely built up a really thick, tough skin for a very long time, but that doesn't get me anywhere. You know, a thick, tough skin is just going to like perpetuate my inability to connect with folks. And I don't want that for myself or for anyone who looks like me. So I really think it's important for me to try and lean into being soft and being vulnerable. If anyone wants to ask a question about what it's like to be a little person, ask away. Honestly, like there's no other way you're going to find out about what this experience can be. And if I never have the chance to talk about it, I get worse at expressing myself and actually articulating what this experience is like, because it's very complex. I can only see it as being confusing for anyone who sees, you know, a 44-year-old man walking down the street or going to the grocery store and thinking, that guy has a beard and he's a man at 4'4". This doesn't make sense. I was living in Detroit for a number of years, and I would go to Honeybee for my groceries. And I remember there was one time there was this like young Mexican family, and there was maybe like a 4-year-old in the grocery cart, and he saw me and he goes, "Mommy, that's a pequeño papi." And I thought that was the cutest thing I could have, because I had this massive beard. It was wintertime, and this little boy thought I was a little daddy. And that kids just say the truth. And in my belief, like, we are all children. Some of us are just older children, but we're all and if we never have the chance to get out those questions and and explore those curiosities, I think they just, they don't get explored, and we don't get to express ourselves or delve into them. And
on the flip side, adults can be pretty stupid and idiotic. What are some? There's got to be some ridiculous questions you get that you're like, well, I'm still an adult male.
I mean, it happened yesterday. I was walking down the street in Venice, and there was a woman that she asked me, or no, I was in Hollywood, and she just said, "Are you a midget? Are you a midget?" This is a part of my daily life. I'll never escape this. You know what I mean? As much as I want to put films and podcasts and media and writings out there, like, the world is so vast, and there isn't enough, that we can do. But honestly, like, I will be an instrument for teaching all this stuff, and then there are times where I'm like, I just don't want to engage with, someone who might be high and asking if I'm a midget. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't. Well, for what it's worth, I'm 6'1", and 99% of women aren't interested in me either. And the 1% who are interested in me are clearly insane. So this is not a phenomenon that only you are dealing with. So,
bro, let's get a beer next week. Let's chat about it, man.
Yeah, can we get the 101th percentile of women out there? I just hope my wife doesn't find out. Oh, Kathy's here. She'd probably tell them. Kathy's a narc. We should probably bring Kathy Kalashevsky in here, who's with the Freep Film Festival, the founder, I believe, isn't that right?
Co-founder.
With
Steve Burns.
With Steve, right, who's gone from Park City to Park Bench, but he's probably listening, so I owe you a beer, Steve. So tell us what else is coming up in the film festival.
Oh, there's so much. It's like, how much time do you have?
Well, less than 19 hours.
Yeah, all right.
If you can try and shoehorn it in.
No, it's going to be an amazing film festival this year. I mean, in addition to the shorts program that Christophe's film is featured in, which is actually Shorts 2, we've got a number of full-length films that are coming, many making their Michigan premiere. We've got a wonderful series of films by Asian American filmmakers about Asian American communities. That AAPI series is our second year hosting that, and so there's a number of films screening over at the Detroit Historical Museum, and yeah, we've got just some free events for the filmmaking community. In addition to, we're doing again up at Frame in Hazel Park our Dinner and a Movie series, which we've worked on bringing food-related films, and then area chefs do meals inspired by the films. So, a film called The Truffle Hunters, which looks at these men in Italy who've devoted their life to finding the rare truffles that go for, hundreds and thousands of dollars. And so there'll be a meal paired with that's truffle inspired.
And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars per ticket to get in, right?
I think it's $95, but you get a lot of food and you get to see a great movie, and so that's happening Thursday through Sunday with a different themed film each night, and we've got a couple of world premieres. We're world premiering a film called The Best of the Best: Jazz from Detroit, which looks at Detroit's legacy on jazz music throughout the world and how influential Detroit was, and the musicians were producing that music on the sound that is jazz. And that's produced by former Free Press arts and culture writer Mark Stryker, and he teamed up with a pair of New York directors, producers, to bring that film. So we're having the world premiere of that as well.
Yeah, there's been some great films in the past. Last year I was moderating a panel with Peter Leonard, who folks who listen to the show heard on the Soul of Detroit talking about his involvement in the reboot of Justified. And there was a great documentary several years ago where LaDuff and I were both on the panel with former Free Press editor Peter Badia on Mike Wallace, who spent some time in Michigan. I think he was a U of M grad and is the guy who I think endowed the Wallace House, which is a big spot for career journalists who are taking a year off to study their craft. But there's some great movies there. Some of the ones that interested us the most was The Hurricanes, about a film. It's a film about women's semi-pro football team in the 1970s. There's been some explorations of some of the crazy political stuff that's going on here. Something about a spy. You have a spy movie in the document. I mean, I don't really think about documentaries and spy movies, so that sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
But you guys have a wide variety of films.
There's one about beer too, right? Can you tell us about that one, Kathy? Do you know the?
Oh yeah. Well, we actually have 2 beer films.
Oh, even better.
So one is called A Two-Hearted Tale, and it is about the artist behind the Bell's Beer Two-Hearted Ale label. So back in the day, if you remember,
so specific.
I know, but Bell's was, obviously they were on the cutting edge of the craft beer movement, and Ladislav Hanka, who's the artist, was designing all the beer labels. It wasn't design in the traditional sense like your PBR label. It was like art, like sketches and etchings that he was doing. And so the Two-Hearted Ale is, one of the most recognized beer labels in the country, if not the world. And we get to learn about the artist, his inspiration, obviously the Two-Hearted River up in the UP, where the trout that sits on that label is kind of inspired from. So it's a very Michigan film. And then it's being paired with a film called On Guard, which I don't know if you've talked about this on the podcast, but the Free Press is working with Batch Brewery to create a pre-prohibition lager. And so it's a little short film that kind of looks at that partnership and the making of this beer that inspires community and journalism. So the two are pairing together.
As the On Guard columnist for the Free Press, I'm expecting a free case of
lots
On
of free
Guard
beer for Mike.
But that'll be coming up. I think we're having a party later this month, aren't we?
Yes,
The Free Press is doing something at
Batch.
At Batch Brewing in Corktown. I have to tell you a little inside baseball story about Bell's Beer and the Free Press. I was an intern in 1990, and I had a friend going to Kalamazoo College, and he said, "Yeah, on Friday we go to this place where they brew this beer, and it's good, and it's wow." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was in the feature section, so I went to my editor and I said, "Hey, in Kalamazoo, I'd like to go up there because there's this place that's making small batches of beer that's different, and people get together and they drink it all, and it sounds like." And this guy's like, No, it's not going anywhere. So he's no longer in journalism, by the way. So I guess we figured out who's not going anywhere. But Bell's has a long history as being at the forefront of the home brewing industry, and I should say the micro brewing industry. And so those are the kind of movies you're going to see there. These venues are great places to watch movies. The place we were at last year was at the Science Center, which has that big screen and that super. I mean, it's a small, intimate screening room, but you really feel with that massive screen like the movie is kind of wrapping around you. And what other places will you be showing these films?
Yeah, we're back at the Science Center. They've got a more traditional theater called the Toyota Engineering Theater, but then they also have the IMAX, we're on the IMAX, which I think is what you're referring to, because I think the Elmore Leonard film that you referenced before was in that screening space. But we're at the Detroit Film Theater, at the DIA again, as well as over at the Detroit Historical Museum, and then we're also we took a. Last year we weren't up in the Birmingham 8 in Birmingham just because we were kind of post-pandemic kind of downsizing, but we've decided to expand back up into the suburbs. So there's film screening at the Birmingham 8 on Saturday and Sunday, and then starting Wednesday at those main theaters downtown.
And if you can't make it out, some are screened virtually too, right? So
yes,
all that information at freepfilmfestival.com?
Yes, lots of virtual screenings. And I think one of the things that, in this day and age of streaming, people are like, I'm going to sit at home and watch that. Yeah. But, what Freep brings beyond, the communal experience of watching a film together where you're all laughing at the same thing or all gasping at the same thing is that we do try to bring filmmakers and folks that are featured in the film. Like you mentioned, the Hurricanes. A couple of the women that were on that team in the 70s is joining us for the screenings this weekend. So, you get to not only see a great movie, but then you get to kind of interact in a much more kind of deeper level.
You can see Christophe and ask him all the stupid questions you've ever wanted to ask
Or
him.
don't ask stupid questions. Come and enjoy the
There's
movie.
no stupid questions, right?
Yeah.
There are no stupid questions. No, ask anything you want, for sure.
Yeah, so it's okay to look, but if you start to stare, don't forget Christophe is not only a stunt man, he's a Sasquatch, and he will rip your head off. So be on your best behavior. Where can folks meet Christophe?
Well, the screening, Christophe, you're here for both screenings, right? Because there's a Saturday and Sunday screening. So
I'll be on Saturday and Sunday, yes.
yeah, so the shorts programs, we've got four shorts programs. 3 of them are more general shorts programs, and then there's the AAPI series. And a lot of the filmmakers are going to be in town. I mean, those shorts programs, like if you're like, okay, I want to try to get the most out of the festival, well, going and seeing the shorts programs is a great way to see a variety of films with a variety of topics. A lot of the filmmakers and subjects are going to be in town, so you can interact with them. After the screening, it's like an amazing amount. There's like 15 to 20 films alone in those shorts programs, so it's really the best bang for your buck. And we also have a couple of free events, after parties. One on Thursday night at Kiesling, over in kind of the north end, and then
Milwaukee Junction area.
Yeah, and then and Two Birds over off of Kirchhoffel, kind of on the east side. So if you have a film, if you have a ticket to a film, you get a discount on a drink, or I think at Kiesling it's like a discount on a welcome drink. So there's an opportunity.
That's promo code Kalashevsky.
Yes,
spell it right.
Yeah, right. No, just bring your ticket, and you get to interact with a lot of folks that are involved with the making of the festival, and then folks that have film screening in the festival. Those are always really fun. Kind of starting one on Thursday after 8 and one on Saturday after 8.
And Christophe and I will be cruising chicks on Friday, so he will not be available for any of the promotional stuff. So you'll have to see him Saturday and Sunday.
Sorry, y'all. Business is business.
I'm going to need to talk to Teresa. That's all I have to say. It's the second mention of that here, Mike.
I am Christophe's wingman, and you know what, Christophe? He can grow a beard. I can't. So we're gonna pair up.
I had to do this to go to Michigan State. Actually, like this was a requisite.
Really, I tried to grow a beard. Couldn't, but I still got into Michigan State.
You still have it, though. You still try whatever that is.
The standards were a little lower back then. This is just to prevent ingrown hairs, that's all. But
I don't have anything on top, so that's why,
you and I are like Seinfeld and Costanza together. We could satisfy one woman.
I say let's give it a go. You know what I mean?
Okay, and we'll have that film for you next year's film festival. That will be the adult portion, because that's a new part of the film festival, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're going that route this year or next, to be honest.
Very profitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, think about it. I wouldn't want to rule anything out. Well, Christophe, thanks for joining us. Kathy, tell people where they can get tickets again, and tell them to get them now, because you are selling. That's the thing about the Free Press Film Festival. It's a sellout, but not in the bad way.
No, definitely not. If you go to freepfilmfestival.com, you can get tickets to all of these amazing screenings. And you're right, Mike, things are selling out. We've got a couple of sellouts already, so don't wait. Get online, get those tickets. We'll be selling some at the door as well, but we always try to encourage people to get them ahead of time so they can come in and kind of hassle-free and just go right in and sit down and get ready for the film.
All right. Well, Christophe, Kathy, thanks for coming in, and we're looking forward to a very successful 11th annual Freep Film Festival.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
And now we take a dramatic pause. If you survived the eclipse and your retinas didn't get burned, and you're watching us because you're a Patreon supporter of the show, I'm going to apologize for this assault on your eyeballs brought to you by August Gitschlag and Conrad Maziarz, who are the founders and the hosts of Tracksuit 10, which is coming up this Saturday, April 13th at Whiskey in the Jar. This is a great party where you're encouraged to wear a tracksuit. I happen to wear a very Run DMC-esque black Adidas tracksuit. These guys are, I guess, kaleidoscopic is the kindest way to put it, in some very, very funky tracksuits that are not uncharacteristic of the garb you will see this Saturday at Whiskey in the Jar. So, boys, thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for having us, as always.
So tell us what's going on this Saturday. Tell us what the cause is. Tell us DJ is going to be there again.
Yeah, we'll have Tom T, a good Spartan who I went to school with at Michigan State. Pretty well-known DJ. He comes in and does this for us every year since the first one 12 years ago. We missed 2 of these because of COVID.
Yeah, I remember your post. We're not canceling this like right before it happened.
Right. Well, we had to cancel it. But anyway.
Not a bad call. Not a bad call. Because it does get pretty packed in there. Social distancing is not
a thing at this event. And the tracksuits that we have, we've gotten goofier and goofier. It gets so much harder. Originally, 12 years ago, we were finding cool Fila's and cool Adidas at vintage shops. And now people are snatching those things up and selling them for $500 a pop online. Yeah. So we started getting a little goofier and more random with our tracksuits. But we've been doing this for 10 years. Probably the last 6 of them have been dedicated to the Detroit Friendship House. This is all the money we raise goes to the food pantry in Hamtramck, which I'm on the board of directors of. So we've had other charities in the past, but this is the start. And then out of this was born the Magnum Party.
Yep.
Which we do in the summertime.
Which is now, what, Magnum 13?
Maybe 13.
Okay.
And now the people that can't see, explain your tracksuits. I just want you to describe
August
them.
has some very tastefully positioned Bengal tigers, it looks like.
Yeah, this one's always a hit at Tiger games. I wear this one in the spring and in the fall.
Maybe the only hit at Tiger games.
Yeah, well, as long as Javier Baez isn't that bad. You know, but kind of yours is...
the neon floral that I found over in Highland Park last year.
And that's not vintage. That is for sale right now. That is
it's on the Adidas website still.
Yeah.
That's the
I
current
like that one, man.
fashion.
That's sharp.
That is wow. My
whole party,
my cones and rods are scrambled.
This whole thing started because of his Facebook post 12 years ago.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, many years ago, I was cleaning out my attic after I moved, and I was going over like what I would consider one of the worst Christmas gifts I ever got. Is my sister bought me a black velour tracksuit from Mr. Allen's.
Nice.
And it was past the return date, and it just sat in my attic for years. I'm going through it. I was about to get rid of it and like donate it to Salvation Army, and he saw the post and we talked about it. The next day we decided to wear tracksuits at the bar. So we're all behind the bar and people just came to see us in tracksuits. We couldn't figure out why or what it was, but people just started showing up to see us in tracksuits. There was a DJ that was sitting at the bar. He goes, "Hey, I'll DJ if you guys turn this into a party. Let's make it a party." So we did. We get it in there. More people started saying they're going to come. We decided, like, let's throw them. If we're having people show up, let's raise money for charity. So we decided to do a charity and a little raffle that we had that year. And
I think we raised $750 and we were doing cartwheels. We thought it was the greatest thing in the world because we're like, it was a last minute thing to throw the charity part in because we started getting messages from friends online saying this thing has legs.
Yeah,
we're coming. We're bringing this whole social group to this thing. I'm like, okay. There are people on roller skates. We weren't prepared at all. We didn't have the furniture out of the bar or nothing, and it just went kaboom.
Are there any contests? You know, I don't know what it would be.
So we tried to do that, but we could never stop the party. To be honest with you, we used to do the raffle we'd grab the mic and say so and so won this, or we'd do a contest for tracksuits, and it just stopped the party and it killed it. And in a small place like that, it just kind of ended the vibe. And that was the first couple of years we would do that, and then we just stopped. We're like, look, we're just going to staple all the tickets to the winning baskets in the back, go back there after 1 o'clock and see if you won. Everyone just keep dancing.
Plus, it's always a punk move to throw a contest where you have to disqualify yourself because you have the best gear.
Well, we do take pride in that. Mikey and Conrad and I, the 3 that started all this, we do try to show everybody up, yes.
Now, with this velour tracksuit, were you ever at risk of electrocuting people? Because I imagine that created quite a bit of static.
No, never quite the electrocuting people, but you do realize that you can't really bartend in a velour tracksuit for very long.
Oh, no.
Because it's absorbent or just...
It's hot.
It's just too warm.
It's hot.
Warm.
Okay, all right.
Well, very warm.
Lessons learned the hard way over the past decade.
I don't remember that about velour, but it's been a while.
Well, you also probably weren't hustling drinks behind a bar at full speed.
How much velour have you worn?
Oh, it was very popular in the 70s.
It's another Costanza. He's like the Velvet Storm.
There was a period in the late 70s where within a particular set, it was like a Jordache jean velour top long sleeve combo. That was the thing.
Do you still have it?
No.
Damn it.
How many velour tracksuits do you have in the attic there?
It wasn't a tracksuit. It was just the top.
Okay.
It's what you wore under the bleachers. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
That's all that you need to say.
Well, what were you doing under the bleachers?
At the football game.
Who were you?
Teabagging under the football game?
Go there.
Come on, man.
What school was that? Was that a reform school?
Another piece to the puzzle has been added.
Was Belvin the hall monitor there? What's going on with his open kimono
what
and
are you
his
doing under the? You're just having
steps on in a velvet tracksuit while he's kicking it in the back of the Econoline van?
You're just having a little something to drink, probably, right? From what I remember.
Oh, that's what. Okay, now I know. Now I know what you were
This
doing.
is a peppermint schnapps moment. All right, so August, when people go there,
Yeah, exactly.
besides
Just
finding,
before edibles. How about that?
I got what you were laying down, my man.
there's before after beans, but before edibles, there was that small window.
Oh, it was
there.
before beans
I
too.
gotta
That
say,
was
though,
much later.
why are you going under the bleachers to do that? Wouldn't the smell carry through the bleachers?
I don't know. You don't think when you're 14 or whatever, right?
You were 14.
Yeah, something. I mean, what are you in middle
All
school?
right.
13, 14?
Okay.
Depends how smart you are. If you're 14, probably the center on the basketball team and struggling
Shaving.
with,
In middle school, yeah.
yeah.
I think my wife was the 13, 14, but that was Ann Arbor, and that was earlier in the 70s, and it was a $5 law, right?
Sure.
A $5 ticket, not a $5 law. A $5 ticket, you walk around, and yeah.
We're talking about possession, right? Not solicitation. What's going on? I'm not sure what's happening with this family.
It's possession.
I thought the Sasquatch
It was-
family
it was
sounded
part of
weird,
the,
but
it was part of the movement back in that town in those days. It was before Mark got there.
Yeah.
It had already started to sell out when you got there.
yeah, Mark cleaned it all up. He said, "I'm not gonna countenance
No,
this
I'm going to bring
depravity."
I'm going to bring my big muscles and
I will say hash bash.
conservatism.
Hash bash certainly has changed over the years.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You can get deals now. Restaurants advertise
Exactly.
to come in and
So commercial now, man.
it's true. Well, it used to be part of when it was
Underground.
before it was legal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was part of it. Anyway, yeah, tracksuits.
Yeah, I was going to say, and all of this very elegantly brings us back to how we can raise money for people who can't eat, and not just people who want to eat because they've been smoking weed under the bleachers with Sean Windsor,
Sorry about the velour.
wearing his Velcro
digression.
tracksuit.
Or just rents. It takes people to
Digression.
places, right?
Yeah,
These
it
tracksuits
does.
take
It
people to
does.
places. But
It
we've
does.
been very fortunate to have Blake's Cider be a sponsor of this event for the last few years, and the Magnum PI party we throw. They just taken over. Like every event you do, we're in now. And they write a check to the charity and give us product you can't get anywhere else. So they've been very good. We have at least 25 baskets
Yep.
every year, and each one of them has at least a $25 gift card to a local restaurant like Firebird Tavern, Coonan's Brewing, Dragon Mead, the Charlevoix, Bad Brad's Barbecue. There's a whole bunch of people that are very loyal to our events that always help us raise money. And then we have big ticket items, and we're not even sure which. We were told we have an inflatable kayak this year.
Okay.
We used to always get a bike from Detroit Bikes, but they're no longer around. So
Right. When you usually have some good sports tickets, some good
Yes, we
sports
get sporting,
memorabilia, jerseys. I think a lot of the distributors give you some cool swag for the different booze. That's
oh yeah,
out
Weiss
there.
Distilling has also been really great since they're pretty new, and they've jumped in right away. So their people love coming down the whiskey, and we love going to Weiss. I'll be podcasting from there on Thursday. So
Okay, so Tracksuit 12 is coming up on Tracksuit
10,
Tracksuit
right?
10
should be
No, it's-
13, but we missed two.
and it's Magnum 12.
Magnum will be 12. Yes,
Magnum, okay, and that's coming up in October.
It'll be in August.
In August,
Usually
okay.
right after the election.
Is
I wonder how you picked that month.
Is there a website?
August.
with all
We
the
have
information?
Instagram. I know how much you love Instagram. Magsuit.
You give me a reason to sign up.
Yeah, magsuit.detroit is where we post for both events now.
Okay, so go to Instagram, magsuit.detroit to learn more. That's going to be Saturday, April 16th. 13th. God, these numbers.
man, you're way
We'll
off
fix this
today.
in post.
No, we won't.
Damn it.
It's a lot of numbers thrown at you.
It's not my mistake.
Mark fixes his own shit in
Exactly.
post. So it's Tracksuit 10
I mean,
on April
13th.
in 3, 2, 1. That's Tracksuit 10 on April 13th at
Saturday. Yeah.
Whiskey in the Jar, and of course the Magnum party will be in August, and that's Magnum 12.
Yes.
You finally got it. Well done.
And we we look forward to seeing you in August or in July when we come back to talk about that one.
Oh God, yes. Well, we'll bring you back when it's as hot then as it is today.
Yeah, it'll be the same weather.
And
well, thank you very much for always having us in and always inviting us to talk about these charities that we work for.
oh
It's
hey,
great.
we love supporting good causes, and you know who else loves supporting good causes? Pregnant pause, Dr. Yaldo, and that good cause, of course, is this podcast. So we'd like to thank Dr. Yaldo for his longtime loyalty to the Red Shovel Network, helping to support ML Soul of Detroit, and of course, the Drew and Mike podcast, for many years now. They're our original sponsor, and they sponsor all the shows on the network. We'd also like to thank all of you, the many listeners who have taken our advice and trusted Dr. Yaldo to free you from the daily burdens of glasses, contacts, and even those pesky readers. We appreciate that for many people, opting for eye surgery isn't an easy decision, and understand why many continue to settle for poor vision and the hassle of traditional solutions like the poorly performing above-mentioned annoyances made of glass and plastic. Now, I hated wearing glasses as a kid. I always was very self-conscious. Glasses did not help with that. I made a terrible mistake to get the glasses that get darker when you're outside, but not when you're inside. They just never seemed as cool when you wore them as they looked in the shop. And then I got contacts, and I can't believe I'm thinking putting a little piece of plastic or rubber in my eyeball was a good idea. If you ever, well, let's just say you're coming back from Tracksuit 1 or maybe Magnum 2 and you went to bed and you forgot to take those contacts out. Very painful, very dangerous. Stop it. If you're gun shy about doing something about this, get a free evaluation from Dr. Yaldo. He can help you get rid of all these devices so you can see better than perfect with your own looking balls. So let him analyze your situation, then take it from there. You've got nothing to lose except a lifetime of dependence, and who needs that? So call 1-800-398-EYES or visit YaldoEyeCenter.com. We'll have a link to their website on our website so you can find out how to get Dr. Yaldo on your team so that you look, or you see, as good as you look.
All right. Maybe you're a big-time city official who can travel on the people's dime, or maybe you're a political contributor who gets hooked up with government contracts. Well, that's good for you. Bad for the rest of us. Now, if you're not among the swells lining your pockets with taxpayer money, if you're someone who actually works for a living, call financial specialist Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748. You can discuss strategies to grow your assets from annuities to individual retirement accounts to college savings, all that stuff. Free consultation. Make that call now. You got kids and kleptocrats to feed. So call Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748.
Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Mosaic Wealth. Inc. member FINRA-SIPC. Mosaic Wealth. Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent. Mosaic Wealth. Inc.
Now, I deal with a lot of people in Detroit and elsewhere who like to play games, like some of those city officials traveling on our dime that Luke was talking about. But if you really want to play with me...
Gross.
Okay, that didn't
He's over here talking about balls.
Yeah,
that didn't
What's going on today?
sound right.
You set the tone.
Well, anyway, if you want to test your mettle against me, there's no better way than to play with Come Play Detroit. Come Play Detroit is my choice for softball and volleyball. We'll be taking a team on the field later this month. But they offer a wide range of sports, and they play all year round, offering everything from one-day tournaments to seasons that last 8 to 10 weeks, and sports as diverse as sand volleyball to kickball. You can sign up as an individual, as part of a small group, or as a full team. Either way, Come Play Detroit's friendly staff will help you find the right fit. And if you know me, you know I like a good deal. So go to comeplaydetroit.com. What are you laughing, Mark? It's
good deal. Or a freebie. Or
nothing free, but if significantly discounted.
I mean, you did realize you asked for, what, free beer, a free trip for beer?
I thought he liked a good fit.
That
just was...
That should be the new segment. What freebie is ML asking for this week?
What am I, Tom Masway now?
Sorry, tell me more about how I can play with you at a very low cost.
If you know me as well as Mark thinks he does, you know I like a good deal.
It should be free.
So go to comeplaydetroit.com and use promo code SOUL when you sign up to get 10% off your first registration. It's a great way to get in the game and also to support our show. Last way to support our show, Patreon. You know how to do it. We'll have a link on our website. $5, you get the video, you get the ad-free first listen version of our podcast, and you help us come back every week. $15 a week, or $15 a month. Sorry, we're not getting that ambitious.
Can you stay away from numbers for the rest of the show?
You know, at Michigan State, we did not have
every single number today.
We did not have a math requirement for journalism. I placed out of it, believe it or not. But yeah, no, it's hard to believe. Anyway, $15
Just go to Patreon,
a month. you get the bonus episode. Our most recent bonus episode is Ask Erica, where Erica Erickson helps you work through life's problems. $25 a month, you get all that stuff and a free autographed copy of the Kwame Sutra. $60 a month, you get some sweet swag. Not quite as cool as what August and Conrad are rocking, but pretty groovy nonetheless. So please support the show and become a member of It's Catching the Soul Patrol.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
A Kentucky father has admitted to faking his death to avoid paying his ex-wife more than $100,000.
I saw the story.
In outstanding child support, and is facing serious jail time for this elaborate ruse, or so says the New York Post. Jesse Kimpf pleaded guilty to 1 count of aggravated identity theft and 1 count of computer fraud in federal court.
It's how this piece of shit did it, though, that is somewhat impressive.
Well, he hacked into this system, right?
Yes.
And then it wasn't in Hawaii or something crazy like that?
And because he was out of state, he had an out-of-state doctor, but he was also set himself up to be the guy to approve the death.
Yes, the medical administrator or something.
Yeah.
So he certified.
A lot of effort went into this.
Yeah, he certified the death certificate that he created, and he was trying, like most dirtbags, to dodge child support. So he owed his ex and his children $100,000. Well, here's how it worked out for y'all's boy. He got caught, and authorities estimated the damages that he caused to exceed like $195,000. So in the end, he has to pay restitution of $3,500 to the state of Hawaii. Not too bad. $56,000 to one of the computer companies who he messed with. $20,000 to another computer company that he jacked around, and $116,000 to the California Child Support Agency, who were waiting for him to make good with his old lady. He also agreed to forfeit his electronic devices and $16,000 in gold and silver coins. So apparently my man was getting ready for the rapture. He didn't want to have that useless paper money around.
He was dead.
Oh, well, I mean, God rest his soul. So to get out of this $100,000 bill, what kind of a shitbag are you that you owe that much?
Piece of shit, yeah.
He ends up running up a tab of more than $250,000, getting rid of his devices, and he's facing a maximum of 5 years in federal prison for aggravated identity theft and a minimum of 2 years for computer fraud. And guess what? Both of those carry a steep fine of $250,000. So Jesse Kimpf, good plan. Good plan. All you've accomplished is being our Geek of the Week.
But there's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
In keeping with the spirit of expanding the scope of Room 7609, I'm bringing in something that I don't think is quite the perfect fit for our room, where we introduce you to deep cuts from bands that you know and love, or introduce you to, well, some obscure stuff, because this wasn't obscure, and it's not from a band you love, and it's not something that wasn't a hit because they had lots of other hits. It's the only thing this guy's ever done, as far as I know. And when they were playing it on New Wave, or on First Wave, I was like, is this really New Wave? So listen, and we'll come back and talk about, is Michael Penn New Wave or not?
She says it's time she goes, but wanted to be sure I know. She hopes we can be friends. Ask her why. She blocked her eyes and drew the curtains with my time guy. parallel can be an endless game. We said goodbye before hello. My secret she will never know. And if I dig a hole to channel, I'll catch the first jump to Soho. What if I were Romeo in black jeans? What if I was Heathcliff? It's no man. Maybe she's just looking for someone to dance with. Sometime from now you'll bow to pressure. Some things in life you cannot measure by degrees. I'm between the poles and the equator. Don't send no private investigator to find me, please. Unless he speaks Chinese and can dance like a stare overseas. Okay. So what if I was? Maybe she's just looking for someone to dance with. What if I was Romeo in black jeans? What if I was Heathcliff? It's no man. Maybe she's just looking for someone to dance with.
So that is the best looking, perhaps the most talented, but the most obscure of the Penn brothers. Chris Penn and...
No, are you serious?
Sean Penn being the others.
Wait, I don't know if he's joking. Are you joking or are you being very serious?
Yeah, I think he's the unknown Penn.
Okay.
The quill, if you will. Yeah, he's...
I didn't know there was another Penn brother. That's why I was just shocked.
Doesn't he look like... I
guess he does, yeah. Okay.
I mean,
if it's not true, you've convinced me.
Yeah, no, in fact, he appeared on Saturday Night Live when Sean Penn was hosting, but this tune popped up on First Wave, which is the Sirius XM New Wave channel. I've always loved this song. It's the music is great. The lyrics are fantastic. What if I was Romeo in black jeans? I mean, it's everything about it is lyrical. It's vivid. I mean, the craftsmanship is fantastic, but I don't think it's new wave. So I turned to my two authorities on all things music. Sean doesn't know what he likes, but he knows what he doesn't like, which is last week, I think he said 80% of the songs we play, which seemed like he overestimated by maybe a lot because he doesn't like anything we play. But Sean, what did you think?
Not a fan.
Was that a drop, or did he actually say that? Do we actually have that where we just no?
It's not new wave.
No, Mark didn't like it either.
It's okay.
It's
no,
just,
you're over. I heard what you said about it.
It's just pop, right?
I said it was soft.
It's kind of soft.
I said it was soft. That's all I said. He is a Penn brother, Sean and Mike, and I didn't realize he is the guy. He's married to Amy Mann. Do you know who Amy Mann is?
From Till Tuesday.
Really? I didn't know she was in Till Tuesday.
Love Till Tuesday.
But I know her from, soundtrack work. She did, and apparently Michael Penn did soundtrack work too for a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson movies.
Yep.
Which, Paul Thomas Anderson also used Johnny Greenwood for Radiohead. Bloop. For a lot of his scores and stuff.
Well, while we're blooping,
so it's full circle.
Amy Mann once played with Ministry. So there's your new wave connection. Your punk.
He has produced her albums. He produced The Wallflowers and Liz Phair. So even though he's a one-hit wonder, he did a lot behind the scenes.
So yeah, talented.
Yeah, and apparently he continued to produce music that was well regarded by critics, but not as commercially successful. But whenever I would hear this song, I love this song. And yeah, it doesn't have an edge to it, but this is the kind of song that, you know, it's like Duncan Sheik, you know, one-hit wonder, poppy tune, you know, women love it, dudes dig it. Why didn't this guy have a big career? What I mean, it's beyond me.
Move behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
So Shawn was talking about Oingo Boingo the other week. Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
the guy who just went behind the scenes.
You don't need to jam out to have a good song. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, I'm not with Mark necessarily just because something's soft.
Yeah, so I guess
you like Into the Mystic.
Wait,
for example.
you took it as a pejorative.
Right.
I just said it was soft. The song was soft.
You
I'm
meant
not
it
in a
as
soft
a
mood
pejorative.
right now.
Yeah, but Into the Mystic.
5/8.
That's not a jam.
What song?
Into the Mystic, for example. That Van Morrison. That's not a jam in your sense, but it's a great song. You can.
Well,
be
I just
soft.
said I liked his wife, Amy Mann's. You know, some of her songs. They're very soft. Not in a soft mood right now.
All of Till Tuesday is not soft.
Voices carry. Hush. Voice. That's soft.
That was soft.
That's pretty soft.
No,
that's like a cotton ball.
There's a little bit of an edge in that with the guitar in that song. And yeah, it's all right.
What a great review. Okay, what else?
Okay, so that's Room 769. Again, we invite you to send us deep cuts that you love with a story, please, because we like to know why they mean something to you. Maybe you have a story about the song itself. Maybe you have a story about what was happening to you when you first heard it. Anyway, send all that to us at mlsoulofdetroit.com. That's also where you'll find a button to support the show by making a direct contribution via PayPal or Venmo, or by hitting the Patreon link so that you can join us as a supporter of the show by making a small contribution. As little as $5 a month means a lot to us, and we really appreciate it. This week, we have a new member of the Soul Patrol. Cherry Poppin' Daddy is giving us
Is he into swing music?
I'm not sure. It's either
a creep?
Swing music or virgins. I don't know, but we, what do you expect for $5?
Wasn't there a swing band called the Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
Oh yeah, they had Zoot Suit Riot. Remember that song?
Yeah.
Drink down a bottle of beer, Zoot Suit Riot.
Remember how swing music was big for like a month?
Stray Cats brought it back, man.
Oh, people were
Slim Jim Phantom on the upright bass
all over the place in the
the Gap commercials.
Late 90s, was it?
No, that would have been mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
I remember while I was in college.
Well, yeah.
People were going to classes and like.
Did you guys ever see the movie 1941? It was a John, the guy who did
John Belushi, right?
John Belushi was in it, but it was also done by the guy who did the Blues Brothers, John
Landis.
John Landis, I think it was John. Oh no, it was Steven Spielberg, maybe.
Okay.
But there's a big scene in there where there's a swing dance, and they have a fight. It's a USO party, and somebody's running through there, and it's some of the dancing and some of the stunts are just fantastic. It makes it all by itself worth watching. And
I remember coming back I was working in a newspaper in Alabama in like 96, 97. I'd come back, and there were people swing dancing all over the place.
I know.
It
didn't last very long.
No, it didn't, but the Swingers was part of that too a little bit.
Swingers really kicked it off, I think.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
But that had its own kind of that is actually
such a great movie.
Yeah, no,
such a great movie.
The lingo of the Guy Fieri, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yeah,
I've always felt like he stole.
Is that the Italian pronunciation? Fieri.
He stole his catchphrase on his show off of Swingers. You're so money. That's so money.
Oh, really? I didn't know he did that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But he uses that all the time. And Swingers was long before his show.
That was Vince Vaughn with "Hey baby, you're so money, baby." Vince Vaughn has always annoyed the shit out of me, but Don Cheadle was great.
What? You don't like Vince Vaughn?
I don't like Vince Vaughn. No.
You don't like him as Marty Funkhauser's nephew on Curb? You don't watch Curb, do you?
I've seen some of it, but I know I appreciate you guys spoiling the
Vince
ending
Vaughn
for
was
me
great in
yesterday on the Drew and Mike show.
Vince Vaughn was great in the Swingers.
He was. Vince Vaughn, he was good. Is it Old School?
Oh,
Wedding
he was great.
Crashers?
He was
good
great.
at all of them. I don't know why
Earmuffs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, put
You know,
your hands over the kids' ears.
he's good.
Why do you
when,
hate him?
He's good when he plays a role that I imagine him to be, which is an obnoxious, big-headed jerk.
Oh my God! Jeez. I didn't know you had a feud with Vince Vaughn.
I had a friend of mine who was out in
Vaughn knows-
Wyoming at some place.
Vince Vaughn
and
knows the
sat
lead
with him
when I
for
enter the
hours.
place.
Say that again, Sean.
I had a friend who ran into him out at some place in Wyoming and sat with him for hours and said he was just lovely.
Haha. What do you say to
Lovely.
that?
So if you can dodge a hammer, you can dodge a ball. And if I see him, I'll throw a hammer at him.
He's also kind of rare out in Hollywood because he's a conservative.
I'm utterly fascinated by this hatred of him, though.
The politics don't enter into it.
I believe that. I think it's just based on the characters he plays in movies.
Yeah, you don't like watching yourself.
I love watching myself.
Is that it?
In fact, I'm
a little too close to home.
That's why I'm a Patreon
What's that, Mark?
subscriber, so I can watch the video version.
I actually think that's a fascinating topic, like actors and actresses you hate simply based on their characters.
No. Some of the
Drew
characters he does,
Drew
I really
pointed
like,
out
but-
very correctly once that Matt Damon only plays really incredibly smart people in his movies. And he does, except for maybe Stuck on You. But
Yeah.
he plays geniuses in every movie.
Where he's a Siamese twin with Greg Kinnear.
Yeah. But most of, if you look at his credits, most of his movies, he plays brilliant geniuses like Good Will Hunting and Talented Mr. Ripley and stuff like that. It's like he chooses these so he can be really smart. And that's always stuck with me. Like, that's my vision of Matt Damon. I don't know.
Well,
I don't hate him for it.
I guess if you can be the you always imagine yourself to be and be paid tens of millions of dollars to do it, that's not a bad gig, right?
Sure.
But
I'm just trying to think of actors or actresses I hate simply based on their characters they played.
You don't.
No,
because it's not really a thing.
Because you separated it out.
I think that Vince Vaughn is probably really like that. That's my thing.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You don't really know that.
But some of the characters he plays, I really like.
Okay.
Okay.
I loved him in Anchorman. It's not much.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
Wipe your bubbling lips.
That's right. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Does she tuck you in?
That's right. So,
all that, yeah. No, the delivery's great.
We've had an action-packed show, but before we go, I wanted to see if we could.
It's quiet in here, by the way.
If we could.
Lonely.
Yeah, Lila.
All of our people left.
Lila finally shut up. Yeah.
All of our people left, though.
She got shaved, but she should have been gagged. But anyway, I wanted to see if Sean agrees with any of these things I saw from men explaining.
I do.
Why they are better at basketball than Caitlin Clark.
Well, what's that? What do you mean?
Well, there's a series of interviews were done with men who gave reasons why they think they would be able to beat Caitlin Clark at basketball or why they're a better basketball player. And I wanted to...
Is this just like regular old jamokes on the street?
Well, when
or are these former players?
When I read you some of these...
okay.
You'll probably figure out where I got these. But let's go through some of these, and I want to get Sean's take
okay.
on this.
I think I have an idea where then.
He says...
social media.
Yeah, this individual says, men are always better than women at sports. I should know. I just beat my 6-year-old daughter in a game of one-on-one last week.
Well, that's just a joker.
Another guy says, she wastes time bouncing the ball against the court, presumably because her arms are too weak to carry it around the way I would.
Another joker.
I'm actually not that sure of myself, but I'm 8'3", which has to count for something.
You know, there's probably people out there for real that think, hey, I play a little pickup basketball at the rec, and I can shoot really well. I could take her on because, you know, I'm 6'3", and she's, how tall is she?
6 feet.
6 flat, yeah.
It's a small ball, all that other crap. Here's another guy who says, I've only seen photos of her on my phone screen, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears she's only 3 inches tall. So I think that guy figures he can take her.
Sean, what do you think would happen if she takes that deal to go to the Big Three Ice Cubes League?
She can do that and play in the WNBA, right?
Yeah, but what do you think would happen if she plays in that league?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I think she is in a no-win situation if she were to take that deal.
I just don't think the interest would last.
I think the interest would be huge if she was playing against guys in the Big Three.
At first.
Well, it's only 8 games, right?
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. Would she score a point?
I don't know.
There's that strong take I love from Sean Windsor.
Wow.
I just heard, I think it was Kenyon Martin talking about it, and he goes, 3-on-3 is a lot different than 5-on-5. It's a lot harder to get open, too. And he goes, she's 6 feet. She's 6 feet, and, we can guard a perimeter. And he's probably right.
Did you watch what UConn's, what they did to Purdue's guards in the national championship game? They couldn't get open to shoot.
Yeah, because they were all over him, and I'm afraid that's what would happen if she was
It's future NBA guys at 6'3" and 4 swallowing Braden Smith and Foster Lawyer.
Yeah.
Although, did you see that one putback by that guy in Purdue who went over the big guy?
Holy shit, that was amazing. The dunk
thing was
the right-handed dunk. Yeah,
insane.
That was the highlight of the night. Too bad they got murdered.
Yeah, I was pulling for Purdue, but
sure. Oh yeah.
Oh well. So okay.
Instead, we just got maybe one of the single greatest college basketball teams of all time, very quietly.
Well, and probably the most dominant program in the last
25
30,
years.
40
Yeah.
years. I mean, these guys are beasts.
Well, they broke the record too. The most points, biggest point spread for victories to win the tournament. It's the highest ever, and it was a very quiet route to do it.
Well, here's 2 more strategies for shutting down Caitlin Clark. I want to get Sean's opinion on these as not only a sports writer, but someone who considers himself a basketball aficionado. This guy says, I will get inside her mind and mess with her game by putting down her cat. Would that work, Sean?
Maybe.
Okay, last one. Last one. Coach Sean, we need to know whether this defense will work. I would simply distract her with a glass of wine and a chocolate bar.
Okay, yeah.
No?
That'll work.
Okay. All right. Well, these are people interviewed by The Onion on how they would shut down
I gotcha.
Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of those would really work, but it doesn't seem like anybody else has figured it out. So
I give it up for her, man. She was pretty amazing to watch. I never thought I would see that Caitlin, the person we've been talking about when you weren't on your phone.
Oh, but you said them about South Carolina too.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You said amazing team.
okay, then. So anyway, our amazing team, thank you for listening. We do have a little bit of feedback. We're gonna go through this pretty quickly because it's a interesting notion.
No, it's not.
This comes from Lauren.
By the way, your records, Mark. What do you say to that? The numbers, the record viewing numbers.
Oh, I think it's fine. I think it's great.
Most watched non-football games since 2019. The title game the other day. Isn't that crazy?
Wait, say that again. Most watched
non-football game on cable.
On cable, yeah, on ESPN, yeah.
19 million.
Hey,
that is a huge number.
No, it's a massive number. It's a great number. I think there were only 4 football games that beat it. 3 of them had Michigan in them, by the way. Just want to throw that.
Right.
More people watch that than watch Pete Maravich.
I mean, isn't that
Maravich probably had a bigger share, though.
Aren't
just
those
saying.
numbers something, though? I mean...
Yeah,
they're
it's very
incredible.
encouraging.
It's great. I just don't know why it has to be compared to everything else. But I'm glad, and I don't. Are they going to be able to sustain it next year? It is simply because of one person and one person only. It's Caitlin Clark. The game is growing without a doubt, but it's not going to have those numbers next year.
No, it won't. But it's not just Clark, because otherwise the numbers would have been there during the regular season. It was Clark in a title game, in a semifinal game, in an Elite Eight game against LSU, then UConn, then Dawn Staley and undefeated South Carolina. So it was the context with Clark, right?
100%. But yeah, I mean, it's to see if she's really that good, and she was really that good.
But women's sports are coming on. Last month, the Professional Women's Hockey League played at LCA, and I think they had more than 13,000 people came out to see 2 women's hockey teams that weren't from Detroit. It was like an exhibition or a neutral site game. That's a pretty good turnout.
My niece was talking about that game, Mike, and how excited she was. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Stan Kasten that's helping to run that league? They had 2 competing women's professional hockey leagues. They shut them both down. Stan Kasten, or somebody who has some history with men's professional sports leagues, is helping get them on the right course. And they got kind of a rough start. They all their jerseys are pretty much generic. It just has the team name or initials on the front of them, because they said to do the jerseys right. It's like a 2-year design study and everything like that. But they launched it. They're paying real wages. They have half a dozen teams. They're getting good crowds, and so people are asking now, is Detroit a potential expansion destination?
What is this league?
It's the Women's Professional Hockey League. They play ice hockey.
How does it have a TV deal? How does it make a profit?
I think it's probably mostly ticket sales and sponsorships. So I don't know if they're on TV or not, but I think this game in Detroit was, and I think they've had some of these sort of like, showcase games that have done pretty well with audiences, but they're doing pretty good with attendance. So I think women's sports are finally starting to gain a little momentum.
And the numbers backed it up. Even the WNBA, which the audience is really small, has been growing the last couple of years. I mean, the numbers are up. The college women's basketball was up on a trend even before Caitlin Clark. Specific to basketball, real quickly, I think part of the reason the numbers were so big is because it's filling a void right now for people that love basketball. The NBA has got some issues in terms of aesthetic and style and so forth. And the college men's game,
I think it helps that
has lost the 3 and 4 year future star player. They haven't had that in a long time, actually. And
it's going to do better.
Zach Edey.
Yeah,
he's maybe the first, but men's college basketball hadn't had a star of the level of Caitlin Clark since. Zion Williamson, maybe.
He was one and done, wasn't he?
But he was a one and done, right? I mean, the last 4 year, 3 year, 4 year star on that level, you got to go way, way back. So
Cassius Winston.
So I think that's part of what we're witnessing too. The way they play the game is very pleasing to watch. There's intensity. They get physical.
I think they benefit in a way.
And they stay 3-4 years, right, Mark?
They benefit in a way that the WNBA doesn't, in the fact that the tournament's the same time as the men's tournament. So when you see them talking about the men's tournament too, they do talk about the women's tournament.
That helps too. Yeah, nobody's watching ball in the summer.
Getting that in, exactly. I don't know how many people would watch the WNBA anyway. College just holds a different aspect to it in that you have teams that you like because you went to school there, or you grew up in that town, or you have relatives. I mean, I'm rooting for Purdue last night simply because Michigan plays them.
Oh, for sure. But if you think
I have no connection to any WNBA team.
No, right. But if you like a certain sport and you like watching a certain sport, you're eventually think about tennis, for example. Not that either guys are you're a tennis fan, but it's been a long time since, if you like tennis and you watch a women's match, you don't make a distinction necessarily from the men's match. The serving's a little bit different, but that's about it. It's a very, very similar game in the way it's played and is pleasing aesthetically in a very similar way.
Well, it's almost better because they volley longer.
They do. And the women the women have drawn the same audience as men for a long, long time. Sometimes more, like Serena Williams.
I think you could say Serena Williams was the biggest star in tennis. This Novak Djokovic, even Roger Federer. I don't think people got that excited about.
Probably because she's an American.
Yeah, Federer
Federer's huge.
Has glove fans all over the planet, right? And Nadal too. But
except for Australia.
Yeah, right. No, but can basketball become that? Where tennis is one of the few sports, but where you watch it because you like the way the basketball is played. I feel like that's part of what they're doing.
There's still some things about the game. It looks weird watching it. And one example is, there's a lot of layups, right? And there's
opposed to dunks.
And how many times do you see a woman drive the lane and then turn around and get called for traveling? I feel like I saw that a lot in the championship game. It's just a different sport to me.
It sounds like they're enforcing
basketball,
the rules.
People would argue that, NBA's got a lot to clean up. They travel all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I feel like carrying's gotten out of hand. Now, that's not just the NBA. I see that in high school ball, too, even now. But
to me, though, the NBA is a far different sport than college basketball, too. It's just played so differently.
The skill level. Sure. The skill levels.
Which is the same from men's college to women's college. The skill level is different, so the game is played differently.
Except Caitlin Clark, the way she pulled up and the distance she pulled up and the way she has the ball in a string is different than even anybody in the men's college game. I'm trying to think of anybody that plays like she did. I don't know. Or Juju Watkins, who's, I don't know if you've seen much of her. She's really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. If somebody gives her a glass of wine and some chocolate, it may change everything. So, we have some feedback here from Lauren, who says, "Dear ML, journalism question. Can you share with the audience what historically the Detroit News versus the Detroit Free Press actually meant? Because all I see these days is Freep Light coming from the News, with nitwit Democratic Party operatives like Chad Livengood running the newsroom, including a recent front-page story from The Hack demonizing Republicans who dared to criticize an illegal immigrant murderer. All their newsroom does is smear and criticize Republicans, while all the actual political power in Detroit, Wayne County, and Lansing is the Democrat machine.
Wait, is she saying that about the news or the Free Press?
The news.
That's okay.
I get it, the Republican Party is a joke. But what is even the point of an alleged conservative newspaper if it's just a slightly repackaged Free Press? Seems redundant. Regards, Lauren. P.S. Not a Republican, merely a conservative-leaning, normal person. So, traditionally, the news and the Free Press have been the right and the left. The news has been the conservative paper, more business-oriented, low-tax, small government. The Free Press has been more of the liberal paper, at least in our editorial pages.
I was going to say, isn't that where the difference really is? It's in the editorials.
It is, and so while Chad Livengood is a columnist, so he is a reporter who's allowed to insert some opinion in the same way that I am as a columnist for the Free Press, the news pages and the opinion pages are separate. We don't really talk to those folks, and they don't really talk to us, and we certainly don't work together on anything we're doing. More often what happens is the editorial page gets a bee in their bonnet about some junk, and then they bloviate about it forever, or we write something and they'll opine on it after the fact.
Bloviate?
But,
forever?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I just heard a couple of words.
That's on a good day. But the thing about the Republican Party in Michigan and Donald Trump is they're different than they've ever been. I mean, Donald Trump, who was a Democrat for a long time, a anti-gun, pro-choice Democrat who went to the Clintons, or had the Clintons at his wedding, is a different kind of Republican. Very different. He's an outlier. And the Michigan Republican Party in 2024 is also very different, where it was taken over by extremely conservative activists and then was found not to be very effective and then was wrested back by also conservative Republicans, but are being termed as rhinos because they're not as far right as the far right. And so it's really hard to get your bearings on these things, but in general, if you tended to lean Democratic, you probably favored the Free Press. If you tended to lean Republican, you favored the news. But these days, Trump was saying some things when he was in Grand Rapids that just turned out not to be true. He said he talked to the family of a victim, and they said, no, he didn't. And that may be what Chad was writing about, but the dissension and the chaos we're seeing in the state Republican Party is unprecedented among Republicans. Sometimes it happens with Democrats, but this is
I'll express this opinion
crazy.
Based on her letter. It does seem that people aren't nearly as tough on some of the local politicians in both papers, and that's just my opinion. But there's one party that is far more entertaining.
I think I'll take exception.
Well,
to that,
no, I'm not,
personally.
of course you. I mean, the On Guard column is like the only one that really does it. I just didn't want to kiss your ass any more than you do to yourself. But the other was, one party is far more entertaining, and that's the Republicans.
Hurtful.
Why was that hurtful? I was kissing your ass.
I'm not that flexible anymore. But the no matter how many yoga lessons
So you
I
need
take,
somebody to kiss your ass.
My main
for
point, though, is that one
you
party
can't
just
do it.
is far more entertaining, and not that the news and reporting is necessarily supposed to be
Depends on what you
entertaining.
mean by entertaining.
Well,
That's a subjective thing for folks, isn't it?
So, but
I think stories about budgets and money moving around and that can just be a little dry, whereas chaos is just interesting.
And the issue here is, while the editorial
true.
pages may trend towards one political pole or the other, the news pages have always striven to be objective, and I think have generally succeeded at being objective. So I don't think Chad is out there trying to say, well, I need to write this because it's more in line with our traditional role. I think it's a story, and he wrote it, and I think it probably angered some people who didn't like what he wrote, but I don't think it's because he has an agenda, and I can tell you, as someone who's worked at the Free Press off and on for many decades, that we've never, ever had a meeting that says, okay, let's try and write more stuff like this because this is what people will expect because we tend to be more liberal.
The danger is with Chad writing a column is you know which way he leans.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he leaned on us when he seemed like he was the most sensitive cat in the world. I don't know if you remember, when I was running for city council, he raised some issues about some graphic we had that involved Governor Whitmer that was perfectly appropriate, but he turned into some woke warrior and was up our ass like a friggin' anal probe. So he kind of goes both ways. But the Republican Party, like it or not, is a mess right now, and they're trying to get it straightened out, and they don't have much time because the elections are coming up. We have primaries later this month. But yeah, I mean...
Speaking of anal probes.
Here's Shawn.
Yeah, what's going on?
Brought to you by KY.
I'm just curious, what is an anal probe?
Ask your doctor next time you go in.
You're talking about
seem to be self-evident.
You're talking about the camera that is used, the gastroenterologist use? Or are you saying
he's talking about the UFO kind where they just probe for their own pleasure?
That, or are you talking about sort of some other kind of probe, or just something that can serve as a probe? Like, say, a cell phone.
It's the great thing. It's very subjective,
Cyrus,
Shawn. It's whatever you want it to be.
Where are you? Cyrus, where were you 5 minutes ago? Yeah, I don't know. But this and many other questions we'll answer in an upcoming bonus episode with video of ML Soul of Detroit. Shawn will be leading the charge on that one. Hopefully he will have manscaped before we set up the cameras. But until then, we want to thank Christophe for coming on. He will be in Standing on Water, a short feature at the Freep Film Festival. Kathy Kalashevsky telling us how you can get get tickets and check out some of the great documentaries. And of course, August and Conrad, who are throwing Tracksuit 10.
Yep.
Tracksuit 10 on April 13th.
Hey, look at you. You got it down
Whiskey,
now.
it only took 90 minutes, but we finally got it right. If we got this shit right sooner, we'd probably wrap up. But I guess that's my fault, as everything else is. So until next week, thanks for listening. Please support our sponsors. Please tell them that you found out about them from our show, and consider joining the Soul Patrol, because you're the reason we're here. And if you can support us, we'll be here, well, as long as we can be. So until next week, Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
No matter how hot the action or how great the odds, he proved himself an inspiration to jerks everywhere.
I'm gonna buy you a diamond so big, it's gonna make you puke.
ML Elric.
See that? Be somebody.
He may not be perfect, but he's the only jerk we've got.
ML Elric.
The jerk.
Yellow.
The jerk.
That's right.
ML Elric.
Can you tell the difference?
I am not a bum. I'm a jerk.